Hi everyone and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be looking at triangles, non-right angle triangles, and how to find the missing side or a missing angle in triangles that are not right angled triangles. Remember that for right triangles we are better off by using SOHCAHTOA, the trigonometric ratios that we looked at in another video that we recently posted in this channel. So let's start by looking at the most important properties of triangles. A triangle has three sides and three angles. The sum of the interior angles of any triangle is always 180 degrees. The length of any side must be less than the sum and more than the difference of the other two sides, triangle inequality theorem. The area of a triangle is the base times the height divided by 2. Triangles can be classified by sides, such as equilateral, isosceles, or scalene. Here are an example, for example, of an isosceles triangle. These two sides are equal. Equilateral triangles, the three sides are equal. Scalene, the three sides have different sizes. They can also be classified, triangles can also be classified by angles, acute, right, or obtuse. An equilateral triangle, for example, has all sides and angles equal. Each angle is 60 degrees. The exterior angle of a triangle equals to the sum of the two opposite interior angles. These are some of the most important properties of triangles. Now, we said at the beginning that we're gonna look at triangles and how to find the missing side or a missing angle. And for that, we're gonna use the law of sines and the law of cosines. So let's start with the law of sines. And we have this triangle here. We have the sides in lowercase letters, and we have the angles in capital letters. And notice that any angle opposite to any side is the same letter: A, B, B, C, C. So what does the law of sine say? The law of sine is a rule in trigonometry that relates the sides and angles of a triangle, especially useful in non-right triangles. For any triangle A, B, C with sides A, B, C and opposite angles A, B, C, the formula say that the side divided by the sine of the angle opposite to the side is equal to the other side divided by the sine of the angle opposite to that side, and is also equal to the third side divided by the sine of the angle opposite to that side. This means that the ratio of the length of a side to the sine of its opposite angle, and this is very important, is the same for all three sides and angles of a triangle. Now let's look at the law of cosines, and again we're looking at the same triangle with the sides and the angles opposite to the sides, the same letter but capital letters. So the law of cosine is a rule or formula used to find sides and angles of any triangle, especially useful in non-right triangles. For any triangle ABC with sides lowercase ABC and opposite angles in capital letters, but using the same letter A, B, C, we have these three formulas for each one of the sides. For example, let's say we're missing this side. The formula says that this side to the power of 2 is equal to the other two sides added, each one of them to the power of 2, minus 2 that multiplies the other two sides times the cosine of the angle opposite to the side that we're looking for. The same applies to the other two sides. Let's say we're looking, this side is missing, so this side to the power of 2 is equal to the other two sides added, each one of them to the power of 2, minus 2 that multiplies the other two sides times the cosine of the angle opposite to the side that we're looking for. And also, if we're missing this side, B, the same thing, as we can see here. Now remember, we can use this formula to find a missing side or a missing angle. Let's say if we want to find, for example, this missing angle, we need to have the other three sides. So if we're looking at this angle, we apply this formula, but we must have the other three sides as given in any given problem or exercise. So we just substitute the sides and we can calculate the angle. The same applies, of course, to the other two angles. Or we can have the angle and any other two sides, and we can, let's say for example, we have B and C. Let's say we have B, the sides B and C, and we need to find A, but then we need to have the included angle. That's how we call it, because that's the angle opposite to the side A, right? So we would substitute here. We have this angle, we have B, we have C, we have B and A, sorry, and we need to find C, for example. We need to find C, for example, in this formula. Then we need to have A and B and the angle opposite to A. The same applies also to the other side or the other angles or any other side. When to use the law of cosine? When you know two sides and the included angles. The included angle is always the angle opposite to the side. This is very important. When you know all three sides, and we need to find an angle. Side, 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 angle, side. Okay, so let's start with the first exercise. Let's draw a triangle. And let's say we're going to use the law of sines, and let's say we have this angle, and this angle is 40. Let's say we have this angle, and this angle is 50. We have this side, let's say this side is 18, and we need to find this missing side. So let's go ahead and apply the law of sines. So we have x divided by sine 40 equal 18 divided by sine of 50. So let's do this cross multiplication here, and we have x sine 50 is equal to 18 sine 40, and x is equal to 18 sine 40 divided by sine 50. So all you need to do now is, using your calculator, find sine 40, multiply by 18, and divide by sine 50. Use your calculator to do this operation, and that's it. And we find this missing side. Now let's do another example. So we have another triangle. Let's draw another triangle. And let's say we have this angle is 50. We have this side is 25. We have this angle is 45, and we need to find this side. Alright, so x over sine 45 is equal to 25 over sine 50. So let's do this cross multiplication, and we have x sine 50 is equal to 25 sine 45, and x is equal 25 sine 45 divided by sine 50. Again, use your calculator to find sine 45, multiply it by 25 and divide by sine 50. Again, using your calculator, and we have the missing side. Let's go ahead and do another example. Okay, so let's do another exercise. Let's draw a triangle. And let's say we have this angle here is 40. We have this side is 20. We have this side is 15, and we need to find this angle. Okay, so let's see. Fifteen divided by sine of the angle is equal 20 divided by sine of 40. So once we do this cross multiplication, we end up with 15 sine 40 is equal to 20 sine theta, the angle that we're looking for. Sine theta, the angle that we're looking for, is equal to 15 sine 40 divided by 20. Now, we need to find this angle, right? And of course, you can use your calculator to find sine 40 multiplied by 15 divided by 20. So let's say this number here inside this rectangle is, let's call it m. Okay? Now, in order to find the angle, we need to do the inverse of the sine. And the inverse of the sine is theta is equal sine to the power of minus 1, which is the inverse of the sine, this trigonometric expression. The inverse of this trigonometric expression is sine to the power of minus 1, so that we can have the angle on the other side of the equal sign. And theta, the angle that we're looking for, is going to be equal to sine to the power of minus 1 of what? Of m, which is this number here. Okay, so let's try to do some exercises using the law of cosine to find the missing angle or a missing side of a given triangle. So let's draw a triangle here. Okay, and let's say that this side is 18 and this side is 15. This angle is 40, and we need to find this missing side. Okay, so let's go ahead and apply the law of cosine to find this missing side. So x to the power of 2 is equal 15 to the power of 2 plus 18 to the power of 2 minus 2 multiply 15 multiply 18 multiply cosine of the angle 14, and we call this angle the included angle because it's the angle that is opposite to the side this is the angle that is opposite to the side that we're looking for. So you're going to use your calculator to find this number here, and let's call this number m. So the missing side is going to be x square root of whatever this number is, m. Once we find this number, we plug it here and we find the missing side. Okay, so let's do another exercise. So let's draw a triangle. And let's say that this angle is 55. Let's say that this is the side that we need to find, and let's say that this is 15 and this is 14, and we need to find this side. So using the law of cosine, we have x to the power of 2 is equal 14 to the power of 2 plus 15 to the power of 2 minus 2, 14 15 cosine of the angle that is opposite to the side that we're looking for, right? So cosine of 55. So again, use your calculator to find this number, and once you find this number using your calculator, 14 to the power of 2 plus 15 to the power of 2 minus 2 times 14 times 15 times cosine 55. Once you use this number, once you find this number, and let's call this number, this entire number here, let's call it again, let's call it m. The missing side is going to be the square root of m, and that's it. Let's do now another exercise, and this time we're going to find the missing angle. So again, let's draw a triangle. Let's do a triangle. Let's draw a triangle here. Here we go. Okay, beautiful. So now let's say that I need to find this angle. I have this side is 20. This side is, let's say, 19, and this side is 14. So again, since this is the side that is opposite to the angle that we are looking for, so this is the number that we need to plug on the other side of the inequality. So 20 to the power of 2 is equal to 19 to the power of 2 plus 14 to the power of 2 minus 2 multiplies 19 multiplies 14 cosine of the angle that we're looking for, right? The angle that we're looking for. So again, using your calculator, you're going to do 20 to the power of 2. You're going to do 19 to the power of 2 plus 14 to the power of 2. Minus 2 times 19 times 14 times cosine theta. At the end, you're going to have something like this. Cosine of the angle is equal to a number. Let's call this number m. Once you do this operation, you're going to end up on one side of the equality with the cosine of the angle that we're looking for equal to the number that you're going to find using your calculator. Now, to find this angle, theta, we need to do the inverse of the cosine. So theta is equal to cosine to the power of minus 1 of m. And that's it. I hope this video will help you with your homework or your assignment. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.